At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. What if I told you that 75% of construction projects fail to meet their schedule, budget, and Modular is no exception? In fact, if you don't know what you're doing, Modular can fail faster and bigger than traditional builds. Today, we welcome all of the people, the products, and the processes helping us redefine how we build. And today's guest is someone who's not only seen it all, he's fixed it all. CJ Myrick, Chief Construction Officer at ModCM, has over 30 years in the trenches, delivering more than 50 million square feet of real estate and guiding some of the nation's largest modular and CRE projects to success. We're going to unpack why modular projects break down, what most teams get wrong, and why the owner's rep may be the most underrated yet critical player on your project. CJ has been a GC, a factory side PM, a DoD contractor in Afghanistan, and now leads one of the top owners rep firms in modular. If you're a developer or investor betting on offsite, you need to hear what he has to say. But before we get into all that, we got to make sure we thank all the people that support us. Cobalt Creed Services builders, developers, prefab builders, and manufacturers, allowing them to achieve the highest levels of comfort, indoor air quality, and low energy costs from the HVAC systems installed for their projects and their customers. Their approach is centered around the Unico system, a small duct, high-velocity central heating and cooling system. If you don't know Cobalt Creed, you should check them out. And guess what? They own modular manufacturers as well. So they're using the system within the systems we already use. So without further ado, let's thank some of our other supporting members, and we'll get right back into the show with CJ. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Ready to scale up your offsite construction business? Introducing 4A Constructs, your solution to finding skilled labor for offsite manufacturing. Say goodbye to the headache of recruiting a skilled workforce with hand-selected certified tradesmen that are expertly trained and managed for offsite manufacturing, set crews, and finish crews, ensuring maximum productivity and safety. Unlock the future of skilled workforce development for all of your offsite construction needs. Visit them at 4aconstructs.com. All right. Thank you to all of our supporting members. And of course, all of the supporting members you see going across the ticker below. No matter what your budget is, if you can give a little, give a lot. Hey, we're here to promote all of you out there and let the world know that you exist in this industry so we can all build it better. So if you feel that we bring you some value, we hope you could support us. So just reach out to us on LinkedIn or Facebook or send me an email or, hey, connect with us at World of Modular. Yes, we're going to be at World of Modular coming up next week. So you're not going to want to miss the opportunity to hang out. We got some big things going on. We have an executive event going on as well. And I know quite a few of you will be there. So hopefully you were on the invitee list. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's bring CJ onto the show. CJ, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, sir. How are you today?
And energized as always. How are you?
Can't complain. It's a beautiful, sunny 34-degree day in Montana. So, nothing to complain about here.
Hey, listen, Montana is beautiful. And speaking of Montana and Idaho and elsewhere, we met on one of our trips. I was up there and you were working, I think it was with Garrett at the time, right? Which is a huge modular player. It's been in this space for a long, long time with Tommy Rakes and others. And it was amazing seeing the projects that you guys were working on and the projects that you did in the past. So before we get into all of this, CJ, we're going to jump into a little bit about who you are. In fact, we want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time, CJ. Don't leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we're going to have a family member on. But you only got about a minute and a half to give us the elevator pitch on who CJ is, and then we'll hop into what you're doing today.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you very much. So my background, I've been in the construction industry for 30 years, been on the commercial GC side, worked for a couple top ranking in our companies. I've been a commissioning agent. I've been a factory side PM, as you noted, and I've been 10 years on the owner's rep side. And in that time, I've built 50 million square feet of commercial real estate in 40 states and 6 countries. I've been a defense contractor, working in Afghanistan and on a couple global programs. And since 2017, I've been almost wholly focused on modular and offsite construction. And I say almost, I've done a renovation project and 1 site-built building. The rest of that time, I've built 40 commercial modular buildings since 2017. Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. So I got to ask, Afghanistan, man, I was in the military and I've had boots on the grounds in a lot of those areas. So I'm just curious, as a DOD contractor, how was it? How was your time there? What was that project like? And then we're going to hop into being our owner's rep.
Yeah. So first, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. So yeah, I was working for MacTech Engineering. They're a national engineering firm. I think now they got bought out a couple years ago. I forget who the name is all of a sudden. But we did a lot of defense work and a lot of government contracting. And I was working on, we kicked off a global facility assessment program for the Defense Logistics Agency and got that program working pretty well. Had crews going to 26 bases in 6 countries. And once we got that rolling pretty well, our team in Afghanistan, based in Kabul, we were doing programming and design work with our client there. And they needed some help. And I was like, yep, let's go. And it was great. I mean, I got to lead a team of Afghan nationals who were all master degreed architects and engineers, just a great crew of guys, as we did design work for Afghan national police programs. So counter narcotics, border patrol, medical command, civil order police, and other programs within that Afghan national police program.
I bring it up for 2 reasons. One is construction's high stress to begin with, right? Managing large projects, high stress, a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving people, a lot of things to manage. But then you put that in the middle of an underdeveloped country. The infrastructure is not there. Safety is not always there for you and the workers that are working with you, right? But you still have to do a job. And here you go and do it. And then you come back and you're still doing it. So that says a lot about you as an individual and as a person. And from somebody that understands the stress that comes with those regions, my hat's off to you, man, because I don't know. I'd rather be carrying a gun than standing on a building somewhere in Kabul.
Well, that was Yeah, that was actually the interesting thing is our company's agreement with our PST was we didn't carry.
Yeah.
So I had a Leatherman on my hip, and that was it for that whole time. So, but it's interesting. So as I think through my modular career, it kind of actually started in Kabul because the bases and facilities that we were designing were all using Connex box designs.
Yeah.
And so, when I think back through, none of that experience is factored into, what I portray in my bio in terms of
Right.
modular, but that's all we were doing was Connex box kind of stuff.
Yeah, Connex,
Good
Dorche
stuff.
does a whole lot of stuff over there
Mhm.
from Turkey and elsewhere. So,
Yeah.
well, perfect. All right, so let's hop into right. You
Mhm.
have the experience. You worked in some of the most high stress areas. You've worked on some very very large projects, and we'll talk about some of those projects. But what is the critical role that you are filling as an owner's rep? Why did you decide, hey, I'm going to base my career in right in this niche of a market? And say, hey, listen, I'm going to be an owner's rep and I'm going to help other people be successful?
That's a good question. So, my career has been very diverse as it sounds like in my bio intro there. But construction projects are complicated enough, and then you throw in this thing of modular construction and offsite construction, and you've got these other players that have different agendas. And a lot of times these teams, owner, architect, contractor, factory, set crew, everybody's got a competing agenda. And a lot of times developers don't have that experienced person on their staff to effectively run the project. And I'm just going to pick on that stat. Only 8.5% of construction projects in the US are completed on time and in budget. And that's just an incredible number, because what I see there is a lot of risk, right? I see, there's other information about contractors saying, oh, we only expect 25% of our projects to go on time and things like this. And so it's just a lot of risk overall. And then you throw in modular, and it's that much more important to have someone with experience, um, and to help reduce that risk and manage the team and those competing
Right.
agendas.
Yeah, for sure. Got it. Tell me, what's your favorite project? What was one of the most favorite projects that you worked on? And I have an example that you sent to me. I can put it on the screen if you want.
Yeah, so those are three of my favorite modular projects that I've done. And I'd have to say, overall, my favorite project, not modular, it was actually an expansion of Barrancas National Cemetery down at Naval Air Station, Pensacola.
No kidding.
Yeah, great opportunity. I won't go into. I've got a whole life cycle story there with someone I know who actually was interned there in that space that I got to build out. So, but in terms of modular, I'd honestly have to say my first modular project was my favorite, and the picture you just had pulled up. It's the Marriott dual brand hotel in Hawthorne, California. It's just such a great project, and such a great opportunity to show the different agendas and how people that don't have the right background can still work together and challenge each other and make a project successful. That was a 354 room hotel, 221 crane picks, and we were 11 months from concrete in the ground to heads in beds. And I think that's just, first time developer to modular, first time architect, first time contractor. My first time doing modular, obviously from the factory side, we knew what we were doing, but still, great example of how we can butt heads, but still get the job done, achieve the mission. I'm still friends with that contractor today. I'm still friends with the owner today. I'm actually going to Jackson tomorrow, Jackson, Wyoming. That owner is setting another modular project in Jackson this week. And so I'm going down to support them and that crew. So yeah, I mean, just a great project overall.
Sure. 11 months. Is that site work or is that from the time you set the mods?
So that's so the way Marriott factors their schedules and when they say a project start, they consider a project to be a go when concrete's in the ground. So footings, foundations are done. At that point, Marriott considers, okay, permits done, funding's in place, et cetera. So from concrete in the ground to heads in beds, we were 11 months.
11 months. I mean, that is so fast. And so what did that shave off the time of a traditional project in your mind?
Easily 2 years.
Easily 2 years.
Easily
So
2 years.
they're Marriott's making their money back in 11 months versus, 48 or whatever,
Yeah,
24 months, right?
Yep, that ownership team was definitely seeing revenue, and actually that owner is
Yeah.
still like, he goes to conferences and talks about that project, and it's a testament to why they're doing modular projects still.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. So why are such a small number of projects, completed on time when such a large number of projects are not completed on time and on budget? What's the difference between ones that get completed on time and the other ones? Like what's the biggest headache we're dealing with here in your mind?
I think a lot of it is not having good leadership on the team, not having teams that trust each other. I mean, there's so many times I try to be transparent with my teams. I want buy-in. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I referenced the Naval Air Station Pensacola project. My contractors and down to all the skilled laborers that came on the job, we sat down, had an orientation. This is how you fit into this project. This is why it's important that you do a good job for us on this project. I do the same thing all the way through, my last projects I've been working on in Big Sky, Montana, workforce housing, and, helping my contractor, helping my subcontractors and everyone understand the importance of the project and why it's important for all of us to work together towards that common goal to help the community. And not saying that always works, but I think we see more often, and I hear more often from developers and contractors that have had an owner's rep where, complaints that, oh, well, that guy just made us look busy all the time. He just gave us all this busy work, as if building an $80 million project isn't busy enough.
Right.
And so we just end up with this headbutting, I think, and everyone's looking out for themselves. And it's very difficult to get everyone aligned in terms of vision. And that is honestly, I think, the biggest job of the owner's rep is to build trust and get everyone aligned throughout the group.
Walk me through how you do that, right? Because that's a tall order. That's like saying, hey, I'm gonna look at your project. I'm gonna help coordinate the project. And hey, by the way, I'm gonna work on your culture a little bit as well with all the players. So walk me through what that scenario looks like. I got a big project in Syracuse, New York, CJ. I need some help. How are you going to fix me? That's what I want to know.
It's different for every team, right? I mean, the challenge is finding out what makes each player tick, and then again, transparency, being honest and open with each other, and having that vulnerability. Because I mean, let's face it, most of us in construction are type A's, personality people. We don't ask for help, and especially like some of us old school guys that are just like, nope, I can do it. We've got to be vulnerable. We have to ask for help. And I even offer up myself as a resource to my contractor. And I did this on a project recently with a contractor that had never done a commercial project, never done a modular project. And we were bringing them on to do an industry first in the US. And I sat down with them and I said, look, I realize I'm on the developer side, but use me as a resource. It's in my best interest for you to succeed, and it's in your best interest for you to succeed. So use me as a resource. Don't just keep me at arm's length like an owner or like your client. I'm here to help you, and I want to help you. And I think it's one of the biggest challenges that we have to overcome to get that level of trust, is to be honest and transparent with each other. And really, I'm going to talk about this next week in a presentation at World of Modular. We have to have each other's backs, and we have to make sure, I have to know that the architect's got my back. They have to know I have theirs. Same with the contractor. And we've got to do what it takes to get to that point.
So like I said, here I am, you're in Montana. I'm building something in Syracuse, New York. how do we work together, right? Because I can understand like that's a lot of time on projects, on
Mhm.
jobs, takes a lot of coordination. It's a very hands-on approach that I'm assuming you and your team need to do. Walk me
Mhm.
through the challenges you have there, or how does it work for me? Because as a modular builder, we got these projects coming in all over, and
Right.
then we say, well, we don't have anybody to do it.
Right. Well, I mean, it depends on the level of service that somebody's looking for, right? I mean, I want to be boots on the ground as often as I can, but I should not, as an owner's rep, I should not have to be on site every day, every week. If we've got a good CMGC team and they're feeding information and they're managing effectively the job site, then I shouldn't have to be as an owner's rep. I shouldn't have to be boots on the ground all the time. From the airport that I live near, literally it's 2 minutes away from my house, the Bozeman Airport. I got direct flights to 31 major markets, and then connections through Salt Lake and Minneapolis and Denver to anywhere else I need to get to quickly. And so I do like I said, I do like having boots on the ground. I'm talking with a client about a project in Alaska right now.
Mhm.
And, it's going to be, probably 1 week a month, boots on the ground. Otherwise, it's Zoom calls and it's, you know, sometimes it does require some day-to-day conversation. Um, Again, we've got to build that trust, right? How many hours does it take to build a friendship and to build a level of trust where you can rely on somebody? You've just got to
Right.
invest that time and put that sweat equity into it.
Projects that you're working on, right? I think last we spoke, you were working on some hybrid approaches, right? Modular, mass timber,
Mhm.
CLT. Does it make a difference to you whether somebody's taking a hybrid approach with wood or steel
Hmm.
or CLT, or it's really all the same process?
No, I mean, again, there's different nuances, right? Whether it's mass timber, whether it's volumetric modular, whether it's a steel podium, concrete podium, timber podium. Um, you did mention the CLT modular. That's
Hmm.
a great new technology that's hit the U.S. We've got that first building in the ground now, and it's just what it sounds like. It's a combination of mass timber and volumetric modular. We built 6-sided CLT boxes, transported them to the job site, just like something coming out of a Nashua, a Gurdon, a Rise.
Right.
With our light frame modules, this is just cross laminated timber. And I was just at the Mass Timber Conference last week in Portland, where this project was highlighted on a lot of different conversations and presentations and a lot of excitement around it. But I mean, I was talking to people about doing mass timber podiums with volumetric modular on top of those. Like there's all sorts of different combinations. One of the greatest things I saw last week in the expo hall, company called Carpentry Plus, a little plug for them. They brought in a mass timber modular staircase. And so they build a module, but it's mass timber and it's the entire built out staircase. I know in volumetric in the factory we like building the staircases. This technology would allow us to separate that, build the stair core for a building prior to setting mods, or if you're doing site built construction or other. Um, but it's a beautiful product, and again, it's just utilizing that offsite approach, and can be used with concrete structures, steel structures, modular structures, whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, I
So,
mean, we're
yeah.
seeing a lot of this, components being put together, balconies, stairs,
Mhm.
all of it is now being built offsite to include elevator shafts, right? So
Right.
I think there's a lot of benefit to all these different companies that are really trying to think a little bit further ahead. And I would
Yeah.
imagine a mass timber stair is beautiful.
Oh, it definitely was. And I mean, just the joinery that they have going
Yeah.
around, from module to module, the stair nosings and everything. I mean, it was such a beautiful product. I mean, mass timber just in and of itself is a beautiful product.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was great to see.
So yeah, I mean, you were working for a large company,
Mhm.
before you decided to go off on your own. Why the urge, why the need, what drove you to want to do that? You're getting a good
So
paycheck, I
yeah,
bet,
I,
right?
I was, yeah. So No, I mean, just being on the developer side, obviously developers will talk to each other, right? And I was regularly getting calls from colleagues. Hey, we're struggling with this. Hey, we failed at this. Hey,
Mhm.
how we're not getting what we're looking for. We're not getting the success in this avenue, whatever. And so I just kind of felt like, okay, there needs to be somebody that can reach all of these teams, and I want everyone to be successful. And there's things I'm working on and wanted to work on from the developer side that just it didn't match their agenda, that I know can help raise the bar. And then I got kind of pigeonholed, even though I have an extensive site built career prior to modular. I kind of got pigeonholed as the modular guy. And quite honestly, it upset me. And my hour drive home that night, I just stewed on it. And, it was just, by the time I got home, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to embrace this. No one has the experience I have. No one has the background I have. And I want this to succeed. I believe in modular. I believe in offsite construction. And I have some successes. I have some failures. Let's talk about those. I can use that to help other people
Yeah.
build successful, great projects.
You know, let's dive into successes and failures, right? Because nobody out there is perfect, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
all learn the best from when we fail, and that's where
Mm-hmm.
new innovative ideas come up, or we think, oh, well, that was stupid. Why am I doing it this way? And we come up with more innovative solutions. But with that said, the amount of projects you have built is I mean, it's fascinating to me. Because they're not little projects. I mean, you've done little projects, you've done medium projects, but you've also done really large projects. And when you work with the big hoteliers of the world, that brings its own amount of pressure and precision because they want what they want and how they want it. And there is no
Right.
deviating from it. I mean, all the way to the outlets, they if they're a quarter inch out of where they're supposed to be, they're going to make you rip it out and redo the whole thing. Right.
Yep. Their staff is amazing. I mean, their Marriott's PMs, for example, can walk into a prototype room and say, nope, that outlet needs to move an inch and a half that way, or the switch is in the wrong location, or whatever. You're right. I mean,
They've
they
seen
know
it.
their
Yeah.
stuff really well.
Yeah. So here I'm a manufacturer, or I'm a developer, and CJ, will you help me find the right manufacturer also to use? Will you sit there and say, hey, my project's in Alaska, like you said, who am I going to use? Who has experience up there? How do we make this work? Is that part
Right.
of what you do as well?
It is, and that's honestly one of the first steps in building a successful team is getting the right players, right? One of my management strategies, and I've just grown it and improved upon it through my years in the general contracting world, is I know I'm not the smartest person in the room. My degree's in biology, right? I'm not an architect, engineer, or construction manager by education. And so I need to build a team of people around me that have different core competencies that complement each other to help me achieve the mission.
Mhm.
And it's my job to create those lanes, give them the tools and resources they need to be successful, right? And so finding the right team members, I've got in my presentation packet for next week, I have a regional map of the Western US, and I've got all these different factories listed on it. That was actually a map I had hanging on my wall in my desk the last 5 years, because as I'm talking with people within our organization about upcoming projects, sometimes it might be a single family. We might want to do duplexes. We might want to do volumetric. We might want to do hospitality. And so having the right people, knowing what those factories do and having those relationships. On that map, I have a relationship with people at every one of those factories except for two.
Right.
And so even though I haven't worked with all of them on a project, I've just spent time nurturing those relationships over the years and getting to understand what they do, why they do. That way, when someone calls me and says, hey, I've got a project in Sitka, Alaska, who's my team? I can reach out and lean in on
Right.
those AE partners that I have, those factory partners, et cetera.
Well, I got a project coming up in Kabul. Can you help me there as well?
Let's go. Yep. We got factories in Poland. We can feed out of there, right?
Yeah, not a chance. I'll go with you and talk about it, but I have no desire to spend any more time in that part of the world.
Actually, I think what we do is we base out of Tbilisi, Georgia, because
Yeah.
it's a more beautiful spot.
I would imagine. I would imagine so. So with what you're doing now with mod, did you call it ModCon? Is that so? It's ModCM.
So two different things. ModCM is just
Okay.
short for Modular Construction Management.
Yep.
I abbreviate again with my defense background. Everything's abbreviated, right? So shorten it and cut it. And so modular construction, I've just joined those two words to be ModCon.
Yeah.
Come up with my own little word there.
Well, listen, I have somebody in the comments that knows about 6 projects all going awry right now, Chad Crosby. So, hey, Chad, I mean, if you know that many, CJ's here. You should be introducing them to everybody.
Well, I'm sure Chad and I will talk next week at World of Modular.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, hopefully we'll see Chad as well. So, Chad, thanks for the comments and tuning in. CJ, is there anything that we missed that you want to make sure everybody knows about what you do in the show, or did we do a pretty good job covering it?
No, I mean, we've done a pretty good job, and I appreciate that. A couple of things I just want to touch on. So, I'm just kind of to close up. There's some other things, again, being independent. There's some initiatives that I've wanted to work on that I think are crucial to us improving what we do in the modular industry. And, I mentioned the CLT modular initiative, and that's great. We've got a great team that can address that from a hospitality side or from a multifamily side. But also there's other issues. I mean, we talk about problems and challenges within the industry. And I know next week, nobody really wants to talk about it. But I'm not afraid to have hard conversations. So I've actually put together a little working group to talk about and help the industry resolve weatherization and dry-in issues. There are some really good standards out there. I know how to build a bomb-proof building that is dry. We just have to get our teams working together towards that objective. And so I've got a little working group that we've put together working on that initiative. Workforce development is a passion project of mine as well. And that's from, reaching out. We've got, a lot of great programs we're going to talk about next week and other things about reaching out to high school and college students. But also I'm passionate about developing our contractors and subcontractors that are in the workforce right now. There was a comment last year made at one of the opening sessions at World of Modular that in answering the question, how do we grow the industry? And the response from the speaker was, owners just need to push modular construction. Well, at the time I was working for a $5 billion developer, and I'm like, we can have all the money and desire in the world to build modular, but if we can't find a contractor and subcontractors that want to do it, it's going to go site built. And so we have to build up the workforce that's in the field right now, as well as high school, college students, and getting them introduced to modular and offsite construction. So those are just some other things that I'm able to work on as an independent that are again, passion projects of mine. A rising tide raises all ships. We've got to help each other out here.
Well, you're helping me out right now because this topic, workforce development, and sit down if you're not sitting, because I'm going to tell you something that blow your socks off. We have a guest coming on Wednesday that has an education program at Appalachian State University, and they have developed a CLT mod system, and the students are learning how to build it so they can go out in the world and talk to general contractors and work with general contractors, put that together. Maybe you already know it, but don't give it away yet. But yeah, that's Wednesday show.
Is that Azrayu?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Actually, we spent some time last week at the International Mass Timber Conference.
There you go. So for those of you out there listening, this stuff's actually happening. We're starting to see universities bringing it to fruition. So if you want to learn more about the workforce and how the younger students are starting to learn at this university, they are doing CLT roofs and floors with traditional panel builds in between, but it's cool stuff. And it's just another way to do a hybrid approach to get what you need to get.
Yep. And they're hungry. Like I've talked with Boise State. I've talked with a couple other colleges last week at the International Mass Timber Conference, Auburn and Clemson.
Yeah.
had booths set up in the expo hall. There were, I don't know exactly how many students. I heard there were roughly 50 students. There was one young lady I met from Santa Clara University that was on her spring break. She's a civil engineering major, and on her spring break came to a conference. I don't know too many college kids that are just willing to be like, yeah, I'm going to skip the beach this year.
Right. No doubt.
Career thing.
That might be my next career. Maybe I'll become a professor at one of these universities and just teach them about all these things that they don't even know exist yet, you know, because most universities, the students graduating, architects and what have you, they're coming out 5 years behind what's truly happening in the field at the next level, which is not good.
Yeah. And for your listeners and viewers that are interested in that type of thing, the Center for Offsite Construction over at New York Institute of Technology, they have a really good program that they've developed that they will share out to universities. It's an accredited program within the state of New York system. But Jason will share that out. You know, if you're interested in that, reach out to Jason Van Est over at the Center for Offsite Construction, and he can help.
We may be seeing Jason next week. I think he's coming to our event that we're hosting as well. So looking forward to seeing Jason. So if you'll be at our event and you're listening to this, Jason will probably be there. So, all right, man, CJ, unless there's anything else, I think we've done a pretty good job. I mean, you have the experience, you have the knowledge. Stress does not bother you. You walked around in Kabul with a Leatherman only because they wouldn't let you carry anything else. So you got more guts than me, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. And just in closing, you know, I just want to say, you know, if you're a developer, an owner, even contractor, and, you know, you're looking for success on a project, it's important to have an owner's rep or someone representing your program and advocating for your program that is trustworthy and has integrity. You're trusting them with your company's reputation and legacy. And, you know, I think there's a lot of great qualified individuals out there that can manage schedules, manage budgets and whatever, but it takes more than that to do what needs to be done for success. And again, they're managing your reputation and legacy. So it's important to have the right person in that role, whether it's contracted or in-house. So
I agree. So there you have it, everybody. ModCM, Modular Construction Management. That's the DoD coming out, and CJ, as we just learned. So reach out to ModCM and go to their website. I'm sure they can contact you there. The best way to get a hold of you is probably on LinkedIn as well. CJ, you know, what's great about this is you're an experienced expert in this industry. You have done a lot of projects. You going out on your own and starting this is the reason you're on the show, because you have the ability to help a lot more people in this industry that are trying to figure out if this industry of offsite construction is for them or not. And I believe you could also help some of the existing people in this industry that are growing and just need that extra hand to get some other projects moving. So thank you very much for all your time and coming on with us today.
Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity and the encouragement. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you guys like what we're doing out here, as I always say, you know, we are true to what we do. If you've ever met me, I am the same way in person as I am on camera. There is no BS, and nobody tells us who to have on this show. We do it for the value of the industry so we can all build it better, build more affordable, more sustainable. The way we're doing it is not working. So if you're interested in supporting us, please reach out, because that's the only way we can continue all of these great conversations and let people know the CJ Myrick's of the world exists. CJ, don't go anywhere. I'll come back to you after the end of this show. Awesome. But for the rest of you out there, it's Monday. You still got 4.5 days to keep building it better. So get back to work. The show's over. Right after you see these other supporting members. I'm Dave Cooper. Thank you for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.